One of the less beneficial parts of a system with self and ego and words and a lot of terms to keep track of and remember involving ego and mind also has to do with the lack of information available other than when those processes begin within a human brain. Those processes end up running similar to a software program on a machine, a computer. My three neighbors in their psychiatry and their insistence on crazy people, dumb people, and no care about other options available for living a life not addicted to cigarettes and not afraid to sleep at night. Less confused by sounds. And bored hitting a wall of a neighbor studying next door. All the processes, once they're learned, are similar to when a child and a family have a good relationship in rules, boundaries, and there's no longer any weekend spent alone in a room with a child sad they were grounded and couldn't go to a movie with a friend in the old days. Then afterwards, there's freedom within certain limits provided by a family, similar to limits provided by psychology and psychiatry to humans who practice those habits and make those choices, limiting their decision making and instead enjoying the extra time they have to not have to think about what they should do when a bully comes knocking on their door next time. When some human harasses and stalks them again. Information with self, ego, and all of the other terminology, mind, make a person behaviorally correct within the standards set forth by those who have made those options. However, those boundaries and those limits, those restrictions, those controls, and those words and language and letters are never mandatory. When a human decides effort, energy, goals, and objectives are worth using a brain and decision making for, instead of hallucinating and enjoying drugs and alcohol and tobacco or whatever else someone does when they have controlled their body with their brain and controlled their brain with terminology. Convincing their brain and body, their self and their ego lives outside of the room they rent in the house where they live, alongside apartments and studios in a building called an apartment residence. Brain and body working together, top down, bottom up. Having awareness left and right. Attention, focused and concentrated, straight ahead. Receive what consciousness provides. And what consciousness provides has to do with improving, making changes, being quieter, more silent, and learning to avoid a bully and their harassment and their stalking and their other companions in their system with their processes. Currently, eliminated from most discussion, called a lone wolf kind of decision. Less social than those communists and those political activists who do what my neighbors do, and who say racism has to do with ethnicity and discrimination. Not talking about racism and restriction and control and limiting, and what those humans have been taught to know with their psychology they were provided, with their psychiatry they were given by those who are so dominant, so intelligent, and so brilliant. They're called geniuses. They make music everyone adores and loves and enjoys, and they tell stories about their wisdom, living as an elder who protects the girls, the ladies, the female women, and all of the other humans who need their skills to survive and not be bothered and harmed. Now, Everybody talks about revolution with government. And everybody's so excited everywhere. Except when you get to mental health services and all of the patients, all of the clients, all of the recovering addicts, all of the less aware, and those with difficulties, aren't learning about what they're being told other than what they're provided by and given to from their dominant psychiatrist, psychologist, social worker, counselor, professional, staff, nurse, doctor, teacher, professor, faculty, staff member. Who are less concerned with a better option than making what they have work in a world they say has not enough resources and money available for the poor, and they can't do any more than they're already doing now. And therefore, everybody must keep doing what they're doing to be successful in a world where everyone does what they say that they're doing now. And nobody does what an activist does to a government and begins a more peaceful process than breaking windows and yelling and screaming. In other words, learning, using decision making, checking the time of a video to not go over 15 minutes, as an example, receiving information, making changes, and then being less confused, misdirected, and possibly in danger with those who use their bodies and brains to restrict and control, limit, and dominate. Instead of using decision making and problem solving to achieve goals and enjoy freedom now.